Hello and welcome to Inside Music, episode number 170. As always, I'm your host, James Shotwell, and it's great to be with you again. If you've been waiting a little longer for this episode than usual, I apologize. I spent the last week traveling for work, but I am back in the saddle again with a great conversation with the one and only Tom May, vocalist and guitarist for the band the Menzingers. Now, Tom and I met at the Pyramid Scheme in Grand Rapids, Michigan earlier this week, where the band was performing a show to discuss everything from their upcoming sixth album, Hello, Exile, which will be out on October 6th, to their very first record, which celebrated its 12th anniversary on July 30th. Tom is a great guy, and the Menzingers are a fantastic band. If you've never heard of them before, go ahead and hit pause right now, head over to Google, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, and look up the Menzingers. Listen to any song, and you will immediately discover just how good they are at songwriting, storytelling, guitar tone, and everything in between. This band just has that intangible it factor that makes their music both universally relatable, but incredibly specific. They talk about moments in life that you feel were torn from your own personal journey. It's just great stuff. And in this conversation, Tom tells me a little bit about how it came together, a little bit about what fans can expect from that new album, and a lot about what makes the band function. You know, to be a group for over a decade is an accomplishment. To put out 6 albums is an accomplishment. And getting there is not so much about being smart in terms of the music business, but in terms of interpersonal relationships and learning to put up with one another and argue about things and talk things through and not let the little things become big things that ultimately consume your band. And we talk about all of that and more in this episode. But before we get there, I got to tell you a couple quick things. This episode of Inside Music and all episodes of Inside Music are brought to you by Holix, the music industry's leading digital promotional distribution company. What that means is that Holix works with artists like Chance the Rapper, Metallica, Blink-182, Niall Horan, A Perfect Circle, and even Tool to promote their new music online. You can promote your music through Holix as well by visiting Holix.com. That's HAULIX.com. If you go there and sign up today, you'll get your first month of service completely free. So one more time, Holix.com, HAULIX.com. And if you want some video content in your life, if you want to learn about the music business or hear the latest headlines, I highly encourage you to go over to YouTube and search Music Biz 101. That's Music Biz 101. There you'll find a ton of content created by yours truly in partnership with Holix that will help you on your music business journey. And if you've done all those things already, if you've signed up for Holix, if you've subscribed to our YouTube channel, then the only thing left to do is to wait for the Menzingers to release their new album, Hello Exile, on October 6th through Epitaph Records. I've heard it. It's awesome. We're going to talk about it today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my conversation with the great Tom. Yesterday?
Yesterday we were in Cleveland, Lakewood, technically. Yeah.
Okay. What was that? Mahal's, or what venue was that?
That was at a new venue, well, an old venue that's now new called Fantasy Nightclub. It was like a 4-room place. The place that we played had a pirate ship inside of it.
Nice.
Pretty great. The venue is haunted.
I think my friends in Circus Survive just played a show there.
They did, yeah.
And they blew out the PA, so it seems like a cool
place.
I
think second song they said, maybe. Yeah, it's pretty wild. There's like a 1,200-person movie theater in it, and then there's that room with the pirate ship, and then there's a goth nightclub, and there's like a metal room. So the whole place is, you could tell they just opened, but we talked to Lisa, the owner, and she had some cool stories. It seems like that place is going to be pretty fucking rad when they get everything together.
A little something for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of excited to talk to you today because I noticed, actually I saw the tweet go out yesterday and people have been talking about it, but yesterday was the 12-year anniversary of the first record.
It was, yeah.
Is that kind of crazy to think about?
It's insane to think about.
Is it one of those, like, it feels like yesterday or it feels like a million years ago?
You know, I guess it feels like it was 12 years ago, to be honest.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's a good answer.
Yeah, there are memories of it that I can remember that as if they had happened last week, and there's parts of it that seem so long ago.
Yeah, I saw, I'm pretty good friends with Jesse Cannon, and he was like really falling down a rabbit hole of like remembering working on that record with you guys.
No, that's awesome, yeah.
So what comes to your mind when you think about that time? Like what's the first thought when you think about that record?
I think about being in Union City, New Jersey, recording it at Canada Sound Foundation. Think that's what it was called at the time. I know that's what he calls the studio now.
Yeah, something like that if it wasn't called.
Yeah, totally. And we weren't old enough to drink, so we got the one guy to buy us 40s once in a while. Old Matt. And we every morning we were super broke, but we would go to there's like a Dominican or Cuban corner store around the corner, and we would get buttered loaves every morning for breakfast for like $1 or 30 cents or something, and they were so good. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I've ever had a buttered loaf.
Yeah, it's just like a big old roll of bread that had butter on it.
With butter on it?
And then wrapped again in plastic. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds delicious.
Yeah, those are the first things that came to mind.
Well, did you ever think now you're looking at album 6 at the time, was it like, this is gonna work and take off? Or is it like, now we're going into album 6? Did you have seen yourself here 12 years ago? Yeah,
I'd say that the journey, obviously wasn't anything like, well, it was a lot like we thought it was going to be, but there was a lot of parts that we had completely wrong.
Okay.
But I definitely knew that we were going to be here. We kind of just didn't accept any other outcome. We were just thought, all right, well, we're going to be in a band, so we'll move in together, and then we'll do everything that we can to get there, and it worked. So it was
I like
cool.
that.
Yeah, but for instance, I remember Greg. We took a piece of paper and we each wrote down how many copies of the first record we thought we were going to sell, and it was like outrageous. So many, the numbers are like 100,000, like 30,000. It was pretty. We were definitely very wide-eyed and excited.
Like, we're going to change the world with this album.
Yeah, we were like, oh man, they're saying cool. They compared us to like Rancid and shit. We're fucking doing it. It was that kind of thing.
Yeah, and at the time, Rancid still seemed like the biggest band in the world. I remember 12 years ago.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I mean, they still are. When I hear people talk, now they're like on that weird God tier where it's like, Rancid is doing something?
Yeah,
people
totally.
Get legitimately excited.
Absolutely.
And the Epitaph and Epitaph and Hellcat people are so tight-lipped about everything Rancid related, because I constantly am like, so what do you guys got going on?
Yeah, my guess would be that they don't know.
That's probably
seems like
also
it might
the
be
case.
more of a, not necessarily fly-by-night, but just like all right, we're going to do this. And they're like, okay, let's get it going.
We'll call you when we have something.
Yeah, exactly. We actually met Tim Armstrong outside of Epitaph's office the last time or the second last time that we were there. It was pretty cool. He was there with one of the writers from the X-Files, and he's just like, hey man, my name's Tim. We were like, yeah.
Did he have the beard?
He did have a beard, yeah.
His beard is real gnarly.
Yeah, and he had really like true weathered hands, like you would expect. A big old handshake. It was awesome.
Lived up to the fantasy of what you hoped Tim Armstrong
He
was.
really did, yeah, for sure. And he had like the deepest, weirdly like bluish eyes that just like nailed you as soon as you looked at it. It was cool. I mean, it probably had something to do with the fact that for 20 years I've been worshiping the man, but he definitely was seemed like a special individual.
I mean, you and I have both been in music for over a decade. You know what it's like to meet people that you are always like, that person's probably really cool, and then you're like, oh, they're fine, they're a person. But
Sometimes they're real cool, sometimes they're regular, and sometimes they're a fucking dickhead.
Sometimes they're
ruins everything. Yeah.
So in those rare times when they actually make that level of ascension, you're just like, oh shit, they do exist. Like,
they do exist.
These creatures do exist.
Totally.
I am just a human, and you are whatever you are.
Yeah, they're in the room,
force.
Radiating whatever. Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. So this show tonight is part of this latest tour, and it kind of happens right after Anna came out not that long ago. You guys
it came out 3 days before the first show.
Okay,
Yeah.
Which is just earlier this month. We're still at the end of July, so it was just this month, right?
Yep, it came out July 15th.
How do you feel about the reaction to Anna so far?
People are stoked. A lot of people know the song already at shows, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. That song is the more lighthearted side of the record. It's more like
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's like a bridge between the last record and this one. It's kind of something that we're gonna put out a single in the summer. Why not make one that's really happy and kind of fun and like poppy and just like a really good time.
I'm always interested in single choices, but especially lead single, because some people are like, let's show them the craziest different thing we're going to do this time. And other people are like, let's, like you said, like a bridge, and this does feel like a bridge from the last record.
Yeah, that's the route we went with that one. As far as single choosing goes, it's funny because the music is just changing so much that those things are all weighted differently now, and the decision that going into it might be a little bit different. Mm-hmm. It almost kind of swung back to how it was in the 60s, especially with like a lot of the hip-hop musicians and pop musicians, where they just drop singles all year, you know, and then maybe they'll be on a record, maybe they won't be. But back in the 60s, it would be like your first record was just the collection of all the singles that you put out. Mm-hmm. And we did that last year with 2 songs. We had The Freaks and Toy Soldier that we went in and recorded and put out. And then we put out 2 B-sides from the first record this year, and that was kind of fun. And then we put this one out. And the choice that we made was, like you were saying, to connect the kind of connect everybody into it. Like, not that our next record is the one that comes out in October is some kind of groundbreaking change for us. Yeah, it's definitely our record, but it's definitely a little bit different than the last one.
I've gotten to listen to the whole thing.
Nice.
I've spent like the week. I was actually in LA last week, and I got the record then, so it was kind of the soundtrack to my LA journey, and then coming back to the Midwest. And it is a little bit more of a dour record at times, I feel like, but it's very much still a Menzingers album.
Yeah, I'd say it's definitely a Menzingers.
There's no denying like
no,
like,
yeah.
Shit.
There's a little bit more space on this one that we did intentionally. We kind of used truer guitar tones, and we spent a lot more time writing the songs, deciding what the songs were in their essence, like what makes this a song, and then built them from there.
What I want to ask you about the opening track, because I was almost surprised that wasn't the lead single, just because it to me, I was like, this is how everyone I know feels. Mm-hmm. Like that, just the title alone, but the song itself kind of really encapsulates this feeling of like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, sure.
What are we doing with ourselves right now?
Yeah.
So where did was that one of the earlier songs for this record? Where did that come about?
In the middle while we were writing it. Yeah, it was something. A lot of these songs, some of them were explosions that we got done in 2 days, and the other ones were ones that we beat into submission over 6 months.
Do you prefer one or the other?
Yeah, when it gets done in 2 days and we all love it, that's a lot easier on everybody. It's almost like you kind of like blindly just get into some kind of collective flow state and bash it out.
The confidence in the material always seems better when it happens real fast. Right?
Yeah, true.
It's meant to be, obviously.
Yeah, and I think that there's always kind of sayings that people attach to things like good things take time and great things happen all at once and stuff, but I don't subscribe to that, especially when it comes to writing a song. Like sometimes we'll get a almost divine inspiration kind of situation where we just rip into something, but sometimes we spend a really long time working on something and that comes out just as good. So it's yeah.
But that song in particular is more of a couple of days.
Yeah, that one was that one we took a while to work on. That had a couple different incarnations, and we got to the studio, and we didn't change it too much when we got to the studio, but we kind of gave it a more cohesive track, if that makes sense. So you can kind of like ride without as many bumps with our transitions and stuff. But yeah, we're going to release that song eventually.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for the world to hear it.
I think it's one of those tracks that it kind of touches on a little bit of everything that's on the record, because it kind of has that like melancholy lined hopefulness that runs through the Menzingers catalog.
Totally, yeah. It's tough to listen to us talking about it without hearing it, but yeah, the song's called America, You're Freaking Me Out, and it's definitely going to be a really fun one to play live. I can't wait. We actually we've been playing it at Soundcheck a lot, and we're going to play it at Soundcheck today.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's good. Song. And we'll share that one. We got some special plans for that song that I can't tell now, but yeah.
Do you guys subscribe? Do you guys follow any of like the online Are you like big on following the tweets and stuff about your band? Because I feel like, especially, I don't know what it's been the last few months, there's been like this really nice uptick in, I don't know, the only way I know how to say it is like meme-related Menzingers tweets. Where like, not in a way where people are like making fun of the band, but I feel like there's this new kind of popularity that happens on the internet where if your band can become someone that is almost like a secondhand language in memes, people get what you're talking about, and you have like this different kind of success where kids are like, oh, I know that band because I saw something that made me laugh about them.
Oh, that's cool.
But I saw one the other day that was like, there's this format that's like nobody, and it's like silence, and then it says the Menzingers. Everything that happened before today was amazing, and right now is kind of sucks. And it had like 700 retweets, and I was like, all right, that's fair.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I back that. That's really funny.
It's kind of the songwriting in a nutshell in a lot of cases.
Totally. I guess a meme itself is kind of like a cultural vehicle for a type of expression. You can take it and then copy and paste whatever relates to it. It's all the same framework for what you're trying to say. You can just subtract and add the parts. And if we can be that relevant to say something so hard-hitting and novel to somebody that they can use it and then roll with it, that's pretty cool. It's very flattering.
They make me laugh. I saw one today. I was like ranking Menzingers songs from names and Menzingers songs from best to Who Broke Your Heart the Worst. And I was like, damn, that would be good. I would read that. Good. I would click that if it was an article.
Yeah, that's great. I have a friend, my friend Lauren Adam. She plays with she tours with Thin Lips now, plays with Thin Lips, and she sends me all of the hilarious, like a lot of the hilarious memes that she finds of our band. She sends them to me, and they're pretty great. I actually recently got rid of Twitter off my phone and all that stuff. So I have missed out a bit on the memes. Yeah,
I think you're probably better off for leaving Twitter for a bit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not gonna like stick my pinky up and be like, oh, well, I finally cleansed myself of this social media drag. But no, I just can't fucking stand Twitter, so I got rid of it. I realized that every time that I opened it up, I didn't feel better about myself. No matter which people that I was following, that I stopped following or started to follow some more positive stuff, I just, by the end of it, was like, there's just something bizarre to me about everybody kind of standing in a room, seeing who can scream the most brief thing that they can that's supposed to say something profound, but has lacking in all entire nuance. But then, of course, it's a way to communicate that people in other countries and across languages and things. It could be a really positive force.
It's kind of like the internet in theory, though, right? Like it's a tool that could do all those things that you just said, but usually just as the first thing, just screaming in a room.
Yeah, just dumbass, like fake ass, quote unquote woke people that are annoying as hell. And fucking idiots and bots and all kinds of other trash that just floats around there. I just can't. It's not my scene. It's not my scene these days. Maybe it'll be my scene in a little while, but
I started dating somebody that doesn't have Twitter or doesn't really use any social media, and it changed my perspective on the whole thing because now I find myself explaining things to her.
Sure.
Because I'll be making some reference. I'm like, oh, this is dumb.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that this is so pointless.
After you're saying it out loud, you realize how fucking stupid
or like
it is.
There's some musician that's just like asking me like who they are, and I'll be like, oh, they're that person on Twitter who, like, when I had to explain to her what that Old Town Road song was, she works for Live Nation, but she still had no idea what it was because she's just not connected to the internet.
Sure.
And I was like showing her memes, and she's like, why is this a thing? And I was like, I mean, that's the big question none of us want to ask.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't tell you. It's the intangible.
Exactly, yeah. Somebody is writing a think piece about it, though, somewhere right now.
Yeah.
At a 7th grade reading level that'll get retweeted and become a divisive comment for a couple of hours on the internet, and someone will send it to me and I won't read it. It'll be good.
We talked about Hello Exile coming out in October. That's the 4th record you guys have done with Epitaph, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
How would you describe your relationship with them? It seems like things have been working really well for you guys.
It's amazing. The running joke is that, and the running truth is that they just have never said no to us about anything. Except for one time we wanted to do some kind of wild ass packaging, and they're like, nah, we're not paying for this. And we're like, okay.
Fair.
Yeah, if it was fair, it was fair.
You're like, we get money, it's fine.
Yeah, we understand. But they've been amazing to everything. Everything from inspiring us to like really rip into it when we first signed with them to making a life and career for ourselves now. They've been fantastic about it. It's awesome.
I always feel like they're one of those, they're like an institution at this point in the music industry, so there has to be something about how they deal with artists or how they promote artists that makes people still gravitate towards them.
Oh, yeah.
There are a ton of those labels that were big 10, 20 years ago that still exist, but like we don't talk about them anymore, and it's like that unspoken, like everyone kind of knows that like it wasn't a great place to be.
Oh, sure. Yeah. There's some ones, and the ones like Victory and shit that just ripped bands off notoriously.
And now we're just like, the lights are still on, but fuck those guys kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
And Epitaph comes around and people are, and there's still like that. There's something like people, you want to be a part of that family. So,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally. I mean, record labels are some of the shadiest shit going. It's basically a gatekeeping racket bank that gives you a loan that you pay back with an extremely high interest rate in perpetuity forever. So even when the principal's back, you're just paying forever. As
student debt for bands.
Yeah, it's insane. And sometimes you get really, really fucked by it. But we've been fortunate enough to have an incredible relationship with Epitaph, and the way that they do their business is super transparent and extremely reasonable and kind. And they've just been nothing but great to us. It's awesome. We've heard we know so many people have been fucked so bad. And we've just been extremely fortunate in that we've been able to work with them.
They're like music veterans. When you see them, you're like, oh, you recovered. You somehow got another band going.
Yeah, I mean, they had the highest selling independent record of all time. Until I think maybe Macklemore's record might have beat it or something like that, but maybe not. But he did it. And the first time that we met Epitaph, they told us the story about how that Offspring record really started to sell, and the parents took a mortgage, like a second mortgage out on their house, and they sold all these kinds of things, and they just went for it and were able to make it. And it's really cool. It's a very, very cool story that they got.
Yeah, there'll be a documentary eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
If there's not one already.
Yeah, exactly.
So how much longer does this tour go for you guys?
This is the exact halfway point today. So we're going to be back in, the last show's on August 10th, and the tour started on July 18th. So it's like a three week.
That's a solid tour.
Yeah, it's good.
And then there's another one coming in the fall, obviously.
Yeah, there'll be a long one in the fall. That'll be the big shit.
The album's here.
Yeah, the album's here.
Let's play 4 songs off of it.
Yeah, then it'll be another 18 months of touring after that. So. Nonstop.
I mean, but you're feeling good. I mean, you're heading into it. People seem to love the single, and you're feeling good about it right now.
Yeah, I feel really good about it now. We've been sitting on the songs for so long. you can't wait to share them. So it's kind of like I've heard them a million times. Cannot wait for other people to hear. You're only the second person I've spoken to that doesn't work with us or is in my friend group that's heard the record. So it's can't wait.
I know it's hard because I'm in the same position as you, where I was like, I want to talk about it, even with you in this, but I'm like, I hate interviews where it's like, let's talk about the things people can't have access to for 2
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and there's like nothing that I can really think of that's going to be. I can't be like, yeah, there was a synthesizer song on the record because there's not a synthesizer song on the record. So there's no like, yeah. But I will say that the way that I feel about this record is different than I've felt about any other record.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because of the amount of introspection that we put into it regarding the song. So we really just kind of worked really hard to make the songs a little bit less random and a little bit more focused and thought out. So I think that there's some layers to them, and it's a little bit deeper piece of I guess a deeper work of art. You know, when you're watching a movie and you notice some like wild ass detail in the movie, and you're like, damn, they didn't have to go that far to do that. You know, like a sign streaming in the background of a scene where someone's standing on a rooftop is relevant to a scene, like that kind of stuff. We didn't go that far. It's not like 300 people working on this record, but we definitely made it deeper, and I think that it will resonate more with people and some of the classical stories and ideas that carry on through all kinds of records is on this one.
Well, I feel like you guys are definitely at a point where you know how to write songs, you know how to tour. So now, like, the fun part for you is that, like, how do we go deeper?
Yeah, how do we write better songs and how do we tour better? That's
now it's like write ourselves into a corner somehow. Like,
exactly.
Let's get as deep as possible.
Or go to work. You know, I mean, we work really hard and we go to work and we write all day while we're writing, but we don't want it to be like, oh well, this formula that we used in the past worked. Well, we'll do that for everything else, but not for music. We're not going to do it for the songs. We'll do it for like, this type of touring works. All right, jump on that, make it work, please, for the love of God. Just
find what works in music, except for a song, and then that's...
and then because you can become formulaic, and your heart might not be into it, and I don't think that you can get anything good from it.
No. I will say, for people when they eventually hear the album, I think my favorite track right now is Strawberry Mansions. Is that what it's called?
Interesting. Yeah, hell yeah.
I don't know why, but there's something about that track. Maybe
Nice.
it's just because it kind of follows a few of the little bit more mid-tempo songs. You get to that and kind of
burst back open. Yeah, it's like
we're back.
Yeah, it's like a song about the environment. That's more of a quick punk song, I'll say. Yeah. That was a fun one to record. There's all kinds of wild shit in the background. I keep saying wild shit on this podcast. I don't know why. It's probably because I just drank a giant coffee before you got here. It's great.
Okay.
But yeah, there's some weird things that we recorded in the background. There's like a thunder machine that we had.
That's what that is.
Yeah, it's like a circle that has a giant loose spring that maybe is a 1/4 inch in diameter and 4 feet long. And you just like shake it and it makes a thunder sound. It's pretty cool.
Man. How to be the guy that invented that instrument.
Right? Probably in the 50s for radio program or something. Yeah.
Well, he ran home to his wife and he was like, I got the patent for this thing.
He's like, I finally...
We're going to be good set for life.
Right?
The Thunder Drum descendants trying to get their royalties.
Yeah. Every Foley artist.
I want to know something I do a lot of work trying to educate bands. I spent last week when I was in LA, I went to all these label meetings and I asked everyone what the biggest problem was when they find new talent. And they said that it's, finding people that can write songs is one thing. Finding people that understand how music business works is another thing entirely. And you guys strike me as maybe a group that has at least learned how the music business works over the last 6 albums. You have the gist of it. You get all the ins and outs of it. So what is like been the thing that's kept the Menzingers going for? Like, how are you going into album 6 now? Like, what is that force that keeps you guys together and keeps you above water?
I would break it down to something a little bit. Nothing that's materialistical. Nothing that's like informational or knowledgeable. I would say it's actually a method of communication that we have that has separated us from everyone else. So we are able to get on the same page with each other very quickly, and there's no things that get buried and last for a really long time. And just comparing to other bands I've seen fail because of that, it seems like more often than not it's because of a dynamic. Okay. Of course, one of the main driving things is luck and whether or not you. There's a lot of people out there that you're connecting to.
You get an audience,
Yeah, but as far as like a working band goes, we are able to communicate with each other, get on the same page, and challenge each other to be better. So every single one of us challenges the other person to be better at their instrument, to be better at some of the parts of the music industry they need to do. Like even just as simple as showing up on time and playing the set length you're supposed to. It's funny, those things seem like they would be given and super easy, but a lot of bands just don't do it. It's like kind of like musicians are known to be a little bit lackadaisical, a little bit aloof, you know, which is great because that's how you get some of the really good art out of it. But if you can't get to a place on time and make it run smoothly, and you're a thorn in the side of the other people, then you're not going to be asked to do tours. You're not going to be asked to play festivals. You know, it's kind of.
I think that's solid advice. I was listening to this interview with Maynard James Keeney the other day, and I think Joe Rogan was asking him, you know, what took you guys so long to get on streaming? And he was just like, we can't get on the same page. But it was like in a cool way. He's like, that's just how we are.
Totally.
He's like, we all feel like we're responsible for our band's success, and sometimes it takes a while to get on the same page.
That's really cool that he said that, man.
He said it so like calmly and confidently, and he's like, this is our problem. At least we know what it is. Yeah. We work on it.
That's great. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, we definitely, even things as easy as a t-shirt design and as difficult as which songs to put on a record, we all have, you know, various opinions, and there's not a lot of wheeling and dealing or trading or anything like that, but we definitely do have to work through that stuff, and I think a lot of people bury it inside or are sneaky. Yeah, and it's not good for anybody in any relationship or industry or anything.
I talk to a lot of bands that tell me like their nightmare is when they have one of those. You have a 6-week tour, and 4 weeks in, you have a nice blowout where it's just silent rides every day for a while.
Yeah, fuck that.
Like that, they're like, that's a nightmare.
Yeah, there's always going to be a silent day or a silent ride in a tour, or a silent practice or whatever it is, but you can't let them grow. You know, you can't let the silence become.
At some point, you got to address it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, being slammed in a fucking flying submarine for 6 weeks and like having to interact with everybody, it sucks. Like even like little things like, oh, really? You're gonna fucking chew that sandwich like that? That's what you sound like right now, motherfucker. Like you have these internal dialogues and shit. Yeah, but that's just, I think, any human slammed like that. Yeah. Find your off time, but I'm glad he said that. That's cool.
So when you guys finish a run like this, is it like you guys hang out the next day, or is it like everyone breathe for 5, like everyone get away from each other for a few days?
Yeah, I would say maybe a few days or 1 or 2 days, but we, I think, are also unique in that when we're home, we hang out with each other. A couple days will go by and we'll be like, all right, well, I saw my friends. What are you doing tonight? You want to...
Saw everyone else.
Yeah, so want to go back to hanging out every day like we were before.
But this time we can sleep in like our own beds.
Yeah, this time maybe we'll go to the store.
You want to go grocery shopping?
Yeah, you want to go grocery shopping?
You guys seen produce in a couple of weeks?
Yeah. God, man, I can't wait to go home and cook. Side note. But yeah, it's we definitely do hang out with each other when we get back.
Well, that's wonderful. I think cooking's a good thing to look forward to get off the road.
Oh yeah, it's so great.
You gotta have those simple hobbies.
Totally, it's meditative. It's way healthier. You know, it's not easy to eat healthy on tour, especially because every city's cuisine is some kind of trash ass food, and everybody wants you to try it. So once in a while, you'd be like, oh, like the Philly's equivalent would be like a cheesesteak or something, or like
New Orleans, anything fried, basically.
Anything fried.
I had
not necessarily deep fried.
I had to spend a week down there. A girlfriend who works at Live Nation, she had to go to the House of Blues, and it was like impossible to find a fresh vegetable somewhere. It was like if it wasn't deep fried, it's not served.
Yeah, I guess eating out, you could have that, because I definitely eaten at some restaurants there where it's like some of the best food ever.
It's amazing.
The French
food,
influence, the
but
Italian
after like 4
influence.
days, you're like,
yeah, you want to get salad. You want to get back to.
Can I have greens?
No more pasta with seafood on it.
Yeah, they're like, we have iceberg lettuce. You're like, I mean. 98% water, whatever. It's cool. It's cool. Well, it seems like things are going really well for you guys. I'm excited. So when's the next song coming? Can you tell me that?
Next month.
Next month. Well, like pretty much one a month, and then we get to the record.
I think that's the plan. Yeah.
Okay. Have you shot any videos yet?
We have. So there was a video for Anna, and then there's a video for the next single that we came up with a concept with, and then we have someone who we love and trust deeply run with it, and we've only seen a couple of stills so far. We haven't seen the video itself.
It's like a full narrative video.
It's gonna be fucking amazing. Yeah.
That's a scary thing, but I think especially these days, I think narrative videos are like becoming more and more of an important piece.
Sure, yeah.
How many times can we see you perform somewhere?
Totally, because and also the videos don't serve the purpose that they had used to. You know, there's no MTV. None of our videos are going to be on MTV. I don't even know if they show videos on that. Yeah. They're all going to be on YouTube. They're going to be one-offs and people sharing them on social media. So if there's something that's interesting enough to stand on its own, somebody's really going to share it. But usually that's not the goal that we shoot for when we're doing a video. We just want to do something that's complements the music, something that's representative of us, and that kind of like comes back to the whole kind of ideas that we're trying to put forth out in the world. But this one is one of the ones I think people might share because it's so fucking good. And I'm so proud of it, and it's gonna be so funny.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, you guys are like I feel like you guys are kind of a narrative-driven band, songwriting wise. So that makes
Absolutely,
sense.
yeah. Totally.
Like, I think that's why people gravitate towards your music. A song like Lookers, they're like, everyone has that story just about their own person.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's a good way to... I think that people... The older I get, the more I'm realizing that people kind of learn more emotionally through story than they do through... You know, we could sit here and memorize facts and stuff like that, but without the context to relate them to each other, you don't really learn it.
No.
So I think that people really gravitate toward, you know, go figure, all the things that we have left over from the, at least in Western civilization, is like the stories of the Greeks and all that shit have lasted this long. There's a reason for that. I think people really kind of learn that way, and it's attracted to it, makes them attracted to our music.
No, that's great, man. And I feel like we've covered everything. But so record, it's October 6th?
October 4th.
4th.
Yeah.
It's a couple months away. It's hard to
Yeah,
keep
totally.
notes.
I had this big plan too, where I wanted to like get an astrologer to make some like wild, like stupid ass chart with all of our birthdays and Epitaph and shit, and see if October 4th was the date that we
the
should
right
use,
one?
and then send it to Epitaph and pretend we were serious. I never did. Maybe I'll do that still. That'd be great.
At least for the next single, you can still like
Yeah,
like,
at least
a
for the
single date.
next single, we'll make sure the date's right.
Guys, we might need to change the date. We talked to our astrologer.
Yeah, we talked to our astrologer. It's the same one Nancy Reagan had. We got to.
It's not in the cards right now.
It's down the cards. Yeah.
Hate to tell you guys, Michelle and them are gonna freak.
yeah, they would.
Were they serious? Just
Be
looking
like-
over their computers.
Right?
Did you see this fucking email?
Yeah. I bet that's always a joke too. There's like 11 people at a conference table with our manager and other people like making decisions, and how we could just on like a horrible fickle whim just ruin someone's plans. Such a like rock star dickhead thing to do.
That's fine. That's fine. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to me, man.
Hey, that was great. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Good.